Hello, this is Mr. Riley, and let me give you a demonstration of Activity 2, create a website on S3. So I started the lab, and let me go ahead and get to the top here. So what we're basically going to be doing is they created so you don't have to put CLI on your home PC. They created an EC2 in the cloud, and basically from there you're going to SSH into that and create an S3 bucket through command line. So let us go ahead and look at details, show, and I'm going to copy all of this. Put it in here. Copy that. Let's go ahead and download the PPK. Okay. We can close that. Okay, the three things we're going to accomplish today is we're going to run a CLI commands that use identity access management and Amazon S3 services. We're going to deploy a static website in an S3 bucket. And then we're going to create a script to basically update that website as needed. So let's go ahead and they want to be able to create a static website in an S3 bucket. That's the business case. And then now let's go ahead and access. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Huddy. I'm going to paste in my IP address, go to connections, change 30, SSH, credentials, browse to the last one I downloaded, and open. Accept. EC2-user. Okay, so now that we're in, I'm going to take this and move this over here. And I'm in now, so if you have to do it, if you have a Mac, go ahead and follow these instructions. Okay, so now we're going to run the AWS configure, and it's going to ask us for the access key. So, access key, copy, secret key. Okay, region. They want us to use the EU-West. EU-West-2, and they want us to use JSON. Okay, now that would be in London. Okay, so now I'm going to minimize this here, and we're going to go into the CLI documentation. So, and what we want to do is create a bucket. So we're going to create bucket. This is where that link will take you to. Create bucket. And I like to go to the examples. And then if you look back at the instructions, it says use the AWS S3 API create bucket command to create an Amazon S3 bucket. The bucket must have a unique name and a combination of your first initial, last name, and 3 random numbers. So, and then specify -- region EU2 West because you want to host a website in AWS region that is closest to the people you're most likely to access. London in this case. And you must add the create configuration location constraint EU2 West 2 to the end of the command. So I'm going to go to this, and you see where it says. Now I'm going to demonstrate this here to you. I already did it once, but I want to show you again. So I'm going to erase this and copy in this. Now, this command is if you do it one at a time. That's why you have the slash at the end. I'm going to take it out and make it all one line. Now my bucket name will be P. Riley 159. Take out the my bucket part and the slash. Oops. So if you want to make it multiple lines, put the slashes in there. If not, I prefer the single line if you can. Now, we're in EU West 2, not 1, and EU West 2. So, we're going to go ahead and run this command. And we should get some JSON code back like we did right there. Nice. Okay. If the command is successful, you should get a JavaScript object notation formatted with the location name value that reflects your bucket name, and it did. Okay. Analyze the details of the IMA user that has full access. So, they created a user called AWS S3 user, and we're going to go use the AWS console here. Like I said, I was in here earlier, so. Okay. Okay. So we're going to go to IAM. We're going to go to users. And you see the AWS 3 user. If we click on that, and you'll see the lab S3 policy attached to that user, we're going to go ahead and expand that. And if you look at that, basically it allows, give them full access to the S3 bucket except for those last, object retention, object lock, object hold. That's because it's a lab environment. Okay. Let's go ahead and look at the security credentials because we're going to log in as, and they recommend to do this in a private window. And if you look, we're going to log on as AWS S3 user. With the password right there. That was all part of the details that we copied into the notepad. Now we can go ahead and sign in. Now it's having us go ahead and we signed in with the user using all incognito. So now they want us to go to EC2. If we go to EC2, you'll notice we're getting a whole bunch of API errors. This is to be expected because we only have permission for the S3 bucket. So let's go to S3, and you see the bucket I created. And we have full access in here, except for those limited by the lab. So, okay. Now I'm going to show you something here. When they wrote these instructions, they basically wrote them before they did some security updates to Amazon. If you create an S3 bucket in the past in CLI, it didn't block public access. This does now. It's a good security feature, but these instructions don't quite line up. So you need to do that, unblock it. Save changes and confirm it. Okay, also go down here and where it goes to ACLs. Bucket owner enforced. When we try to copy later on some of the instructions, you have to ACLs enabled and acknowledge. Okay, so this will save you some problems later. So there's our bucket. We're going to go back to the terminal here. I'm going to type in clear so we have a nice clear screen. And we're going to extract files. Extract files to this machine, and then we're going to copy them up to the S3 bucket. And then we're going to do the RXVZF. And now if we run the ls command, they've just basically extracted those. You will see that we have the CSS folder, the image folder, the index.html file, and still the tar, the zip file or the compressed file. And then it asks us to go ahead and remove that. So now we just have the files we need. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and upload these into the bucket. And then make sure you take this command and replace it. What this command does here is it makes it available to be a static website. My bucket is copy it, paste it in here, and now if I refresh and go to my bucket and go to properties and you go down here, we are now enabled. Nice. Okay, now it's time to copy the files up, and we're going to use this command: AWS S3 CP for copy dot for the folder we're in, the files from the folder we're in to the S3 bucket called my bucket. So copy, go back to the terminal, put my bucket name in there, And it's uploading all those files. Okay. Now the reason we put recursive in here, right? So it copied the contents from my local directory, the dot, to the S3 bucket, P Riley 159. And then we used the recursive command to copy all the files that are in each folder. And then we made them with the access control list of public read. So we'll be able to have a static website. So here we go. And then how can we check our work? We do AWS S3 LS for list and the name of your bucket. And we have two folders and a file. Like we should. Okay. Now, if we go back to here and go to our bucket, go to properties. Well, actually, let's go to objects and do a refresh. We have those here now. If we go to properties, let's see if we have a website. And we do. We have the Mom and Pop Cafe. Very nice. So now that we created an S3 static or a static website in S3 bucket through CLI, let's go ahead and see if we can create a batch file to make uploading the website repeatable. And then we could also do changes and stuff like that, which we'll see in a minute. So if I type in history, you'll see all these, it said, locate the line where the AWS S3CP, AWS3CP, right there. To change the directories to create an empty file, we're going to use in this terminal session, I'm going to go ahead and clear. And we're going to do CD and go to my home folder there. And we're going to run the touch command for those. Well, that creates a file. And then we're going to go ahead and configure that. Update dash. And now we're in the author mode. Well, let's go ahead and now we're in the insert mode in VI. And this way we can go ahead and copy this in here. We're going to change one thing in here. It's not my bucket, it is P. Okay, so basically what it's doing is running the bin bash command, so run this file. So now we have to save it. So you hit escape, right quit. And if you run the cat, you will see that what we created here. Now we have to change the permissions on it by running the chmod command. By plus X for make it executable. And that's done. And then now we're going to run an update, run this, and see if it actually changes it. So every time we could run this now, but all it would do is basically reload the files. We already have those files. Let's go ahead and do some changes, and then that way, if we load them, we should see the changes. So now we're going to go to VI, sysops, and index HTML. So we're going to go in here and change some colors. Now, just like the other VI, hit A for insert mode. And I'm going to go down here and change this BG color here from aquamarine to blue. Now I know it's different in your instructions, but just follow the instructions, okay? We're going to change orange to pink. And we're going to change aquamarine to blue. We're going to hit escape, WQ to save our work, okay? So now that we did that, we can run the dot slash update website. It's going to upload all the files again. Now, since I changed the colors, this should actually change the colors on the website. And it did. So, that allowed us to go ahead and do that. They told you to change the different colors, run that command, which I just did. So now here's an optional challenge. So how would you basically, and you go to the documentation for this, or the sync command. Now, ACL value right there. And they also have some examples. AWS S3 sync dot, whatever your bucket is. Now, let me show you what you have to do here. Going back to the terminal. If we go ahead and do a VI update website, right? What you need to do is go ahead and change CP to sync instead. You still need to, well, let's go ahead and do A for insert. Now demonstrate. The public read there, ACL there, but we're not going to leave the recursive. And we're going to go over here and change CP to SYNC, sync. Escape. WQ. Okay. Now let's go back in there and do some other color changes. So A for insert. Instead of blue, we'll go pink here. And we'll just reverse the colors. And the whole idea of this is it will only change it will only upload what has changed. See, it only updated the one. Instead of uploading all of it, they just uploaded one. So let's see if it worked. Yep, very good. Okay, hope this helps, and don't forget to do your lab report on this and give me screenshots of each task as you do it. Okay. Have a good afternoon.